I'm at the supermarket. What should I buy? Salad. 8 cucumbers to go in the salad. How much cucumber? In the salad. In the salad. How much cucumber? 39. And that will do just fine. And maybe even a lime. And they'll all say, I love this salad, Michael.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025. I'm J.E. Skeets, back in the Classic Factory, and alongside me, as always, Melas.
Jesus Christ, let's talk some fucking ball. What the f*** are we doing here?
Next to him, it's the bearded one, my top shot hot boy, Trey Kerby.
Heyo.
And over yonder, making the magic happen, super producer JD.
Hello.
There he is. Here we are. Hello to everybody on YouTube. Hello, podcast listeners. Kudos to you guys for holding down the fort. Some banger episodes to start the playoffs while I was away in Boston.
What was your favorite point we made?
I liked when you were getting into the concept of trading Trae Young.
There we go.
Had nothing to do with the playoffs, of course.
Yep, nice. Nice.
But no, it was great shows, good stuff from all you guys. On today's show, we're discussing the Athletics' latest anonymous player poll that came out yesterday. Yeah, we'll dissect that. NBA awards season has officially started. Payton Pritchard taking home Sixth Man of the Year. We'll get into that. But first, Game 2 Reax. I got some games. Let's start with the stinker last night.
First dud night of the playoffs, you know?
Yeah, like this last game.
No drama in these games, really.
Not really, no. The Lakers bounced back with a 94-85 win over the Timberwolves after losing Game 1. Luka and LeBron took an early lead there in the first quarter. They never let up. They've evened the series at 1 game apiece. LeBron loved the team's tenacity task. I think JJ Redick after the game was loving that the urgency button was switched back on, to quote him. He was screaming at his team there when things were getting away from him. But awesome first quarter, and then they sort of held on.
Yeah, they're definitely anticlimactic in this one, but a lot of smack to the faces, a lot of physical play, a ton of physical play, and they got up early. You could see LeBron was way more into it defensively, way more up into guys, and you could see it all over the place. I mean, they out-rebounded Minnesota. They doubled their fast break points from Game 1, which hurt the Wolves like right off the bat. I thought they were a little lazy, and I guess they knew, these Lakers are going to come out in this first quarter, because 3 minutes in, after they missed a shot, it's like the Lakers were coming up slowly, like they do. We're going to run through Luka, but then LeBron sees, he goes, I guess I can just run past everybody, and they didn't really want to go get him. Edwards didn't get back, Gobert didn't get back, so we got to push ahead from Doncic to score there. I just thought that the Wolves didn't match it whatsoever, really. They kept going to Julius Randle, who had a game high in 27 points. I'm not sure if that was the right thing to do. They didn't pass as much. These passing numbers, I don't know how great they are, but they passed the ball 18 fewer times than Game 1. You could see it in the offense that they were a little stagnant out there. And Jay McDaniels had a great Game 1. You could see he was pirouetting a few minutes into this game. Why are you taking a shot from the free throw line early enough in the shot clock? You could have passed out. I thought they just weren't ready. That being said, Luka was freaking awesome, and he held it together for this Lakers team that, we can call it ugly. I think it's fair to call it.
I mean, nobody could hit a three-pointer. There was 46 personal fouls, multiple video reviews. It was ugly. That's okay. It's playoff basketball.
In the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
They didn't score many points.
It was a big first quarter, I thought.
Yeah, it was a big first quarter. I mean, the first quarter of Game 1 was kind of fun too, but the Lakers, only 6 threes. My man Gabe hit a third of their threes because he hit
it was good game.
And the Wolves also only hit 5 threes. Good for them that they kept the smack alive. They kept fighting, and they kept hitting, and this was a game that should have got to single digits in the fourth quarter, but they were unable to do a few things, like grab a defensive rebound when they should have freaking grabbed a defensive rebound, or it was Julius Randle who smacked LeBron in the face when he could have made it a bucket of his, continued along with the face stroke that he gave him, and that could have made it a single-digit game. It could have been fun towards the end, but it was a little anticlimactic in the NBA last night, period. I think we'll get to the Bucks and the Pacers. That was close.
Yeah.
At least.
It was interesting for a little bit.
It was kind of...
Bobby Portis got very hot at the end of the
It was a single possession game. Anyway, but this one was not.
Big shot. it was the Lakers defense was the story in this one. Nico Harrison must have been loving it. Defense wins championships. Minnesota made 21 threes in game one. They took 25 last night. And you could tell it was a different Lakers game plan early on. They were putting 2 on the ball, getting the ball out of Ant's hands, which is why Julius Randle had such a big game. Ant had 9 assists in game one. Talked about how great his playmaking was. 0 assists in this one. I don't know if it's the 18 less passes or if it's just the Lakers gave a much better effort and were much more connected defensively, and it starts with LeBron. He was really the tone setter on defense. You could see the way he was playing defensively, shading towards Anthony Edwards 1 pass away. They also were just much smarter about where they helped. The drive and kick game wasn't there for the Timberwolves like it was in game one. LeBron was kind of the quarterback out there defensively, getting people in the right spots. He was so disruptive, I thought. Made the key play in this game, Minnesota rallying in the fourth quarter. They're in transition. The ball gets to Anthony Edwards at about half court. LeBron just snakes behind him, steals it, goes to the other end, makes the layup. That was a huge momentum play. 11 rebounds for LeBron. Luka added 12 rebounds. They played small basically this entire game because Jackson Hayes was in foul trouble. They won the rebounding battle. They tied points in the paint. What else can you ask for if you're the small team winning those battles?
Yeah. I know Anthony Edwards talked a big game heading into this one, into the game 2, where he's like, we can be greedy, right? We can take both of these in LA and maybe put this series to bed early. But it did feel like the Wolves came out, especially in the first 12, 16 minutes, whatever, and played like a team that was pretty content to go home with the split.
Felt like it.
We did our business, we got one, and now we'll see you in Minnesota. It did have that feeling. Now, part of that is credit to the Lakers defense. They were just way more locked in after an embarrassing, start to their game one. So they flipped it head on its, what am I trying to say? I don't know.
The script, flipped it on its head.
Yeah, thank you. But it was over after that. They only scored 60 points, the Lakers did, through the final 3 quarters. And still this game never got closer than 9.
It was 9.
I don't think so. That's sort of wild.
You always tend to comment about Anthony Edwards and how teams are doubling him and how he's a little bit slow to react. And after this game, he said, the way they were guarding us, when I catch the ball, they kind of go zone. And when I try to attack a gap, it's like 3 people. I've got to make my decisions a little quicker and we'll be all right.
Yeah.
You think that was the case in this one? Was he slow to react?
It's a little bit of that. Like I said, I think they're a little happy with the win already. And then the other guys that got to help out Ant, Julius Randle, fine. He was really, really good. He had a little bully ball section there. That was great. But everybody else, some of it was foul trouble with Naz Reid, Dante DiVincenzo. Those guys did really nothing. You go down the rest of the team. Naz Reid started the game 0 for 5. He had 2 boards. This was through first 3 quarters. That's not enough. Jaden Daniels was the star of game 1. Did that guy miss a shot in game 1? 8 points, 3 of 11 shooting. Mike Conley, scoreless in his 20-plus minutes. And DiVincenzo, like I said, he got in foul trouble. He only had 4 points. Even Nickeil Alexander-Walker, 1 assist. No wonder Anthony Edwards had 0 assists.
Yeah.
He was
Nobody
passing the
shot.
ball,
Yep.
maybe a little slow at times, but nobody could hit a shot. Yeah.
The Lakers definitely contested the 3-point shots more than game 1. There's no doubt about that. And the way you see if shots are uncontested is if Jaden McDaniels is making them. I mean, he's not going to make them if they're truly contested. And, I made fun of that. He pirouetted, did a couple spins, pivot early in this game for no reason, really. But at the same time, the Lakers were far better at contesting his shots. He could have hit a couple more. But, yes, the Wolves were not fully ready just to hit shots at the same time. They did match the smack level. I do like that for them. They did fight as much as possible because the Lakers brought the defense level. I mean, the fact that Naz Reid fouled a ton, that was there for them. That they were aggressive enough. I mean, they didn't
fouling a lot.
They were fouling a ton. And so the physicality, they know they can take that to Friday in game 3. I think that. I'm just trying to look forward to what the game 3 will be. Hopefully it's not as ugly. Hopefully we're not just at the monitor looking at a lot of reviews. That was unfortunate because the refs just made some wrong calls and they had to get reversed a ton.
I think we're going to get some fascinating games in this series, especially once the 3-point shooting, when you look at the Wolves, comes to the mean, right? What was it, 21 in game 1?
Yeah.
Holy crap, couldn't miss. Then only 5 on 25 shot attempts from deep last night. It's going to get back to normal here in some of these games, and then we're probably going to have some super competitive games down the stretch.
Exactly. You just don't know what you're getting from Minnesota. Yeah. Game 1 was an S-tier game. They can't play much better than they played in game 1. 21 of 42 from 3, dominated inside as well. Anthony Edwards was a perfect playmaker in that game. And then last night was kind of a D-tier game, one of their lowest point totals of the year. Lots of turnovers. They got 52 from Edwards and Randle, not great efficiency, and basically nothing from anybody anybody else, except for Terrence Shannon Jr. gave him a little shot in the arm, I thought, with some energy, though he wasn't that great. He was just trying hard out there. So we'll see what happens in Minnesota. I think Minnesota happy they got the split. Maybe you would say momentum is with the Lakers since they're the team that most recently won. And Luka had an awesome game, like Toss is saying. He finished with a triple-double, 31 points. I guess not a triple-double. 12 rebounds, 9 assists. Went from 1 assist to 9 assists. You could just see how much better the ball was moving for LA. Less stagnant offense as well. It wasn't just mismatch hunting, though he was trying to get Gobert on him.
Oh my God, they went to it time and time again.
They did. Gobert, 5 of 7. Players went 5 of 17 against him as the main defender.
Right.
That's all right. But the 5 stick out because one of them is Luka saucing on him and screaming to the bench, sub him out.
Yeah.
They didn't sub him out. Eventually,
and every single time, all 17 matchups, the crowd goes bonkers.
They go
like
crazy.
It's a WrestleMania pop. It's amazing. Every time that especially Gobert is matched up on Luka on the perimeter, it's like you hear the crowd go nuts.
But they would run a couple of screen and rolls to finally get Gobert matched up on Luka. And in game 1, it was just, okay, we got Gobert on Luka, go cook. In this game, it was we got Gobert on Luka, go cook. But also, guess what? We're running a pin down screen on the other side. So you have to play a little bit of defense over there. And that was very helpful, I thought, for Luka and for the Lakers. Though I will say, nice stuff by Rudy Gobert to pick Luka's pocket at half court and go for the coast-to-coast
That was
layup.
amazing.
Yeah.
You'll never see that again. That was like when he hit the fadeaway jumper against the Denver Nuggets last year. He's going to have an awesome offensive highlight tape at the end of his career, but it'll be one play from every season.
Yeah. Luka made sure he complained that he was fouled on that takeaway by Rudy Gobert. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, Rudy's got those special one a years. Obviously, the fadeaway last year against the Denver Nuggets, that was freaking awesome. So yeah, put the montage together. That was fun. I do think Luka may try and pick that matchup a little too much. I mean, he loves to talk and he loves to go at it. I do think sometimes he's not getting his team involved enough, but whatever. That's a very minor concern, minor criticism. Luka's game, spectacular in this one.
Yeah, I mean, especially from the jump. Like, what was it, 16 in the first quarter? He outscored them, didn't he?
I mean, he did that. Quarter? He did that in game 1 too.
Yeah.
He dominates first quarters for sure.
He's the first quarter man, and LeBron can just chill in a way.
Yeah, and can lock in more defensively and then pick his spots on the offensive end. And it's just like a brutal matchup for Gobert here. Like in this postseason matchup against the Lakers, like there's no like low post opponent for him to try and guard because they don't have a center really. I mean, Jackson Hayes is rolled out there, but then he's out pretty quickly, and it's like it's like LeBron and Rui, and it's like, okay, that's a very difficult matchup for Gobert. And on the other end, they're just baiting him into switches on Luka or LeBron. I mean, Austin Reeves blew by him a couple times as well. I thought he had a nice punch to his game in terms of attacking.
Much better.
Good game. And I think this is sort of, we expected a long series, so it's not surprising it's a 1-1 split headed back to Minnesota.
But the Wolves are happy to say, hey, Rudy Gobert, go guard him one-on-one, because if that's the way you're going to play and not get the other guys involved, they're happy. He was totally fine. The defense, as Trey mentioned, that stat, -2 out there. All good. I do think the Luka Steph Curry celebration was a little odd in the way he did it, because he put up a shot, he looked at the bench, and then he kind of looked back really quickly, and he also did as he walked away, he said, hey, I looked at you guys. Like he put his 2 fingers to his eyes and said, that's my symbol of giving it, instead of the Steph mode, which is just turn around the entire time. Like he looked at the bench as the shot was going up, but then he looked back at the bucket to make sure what happened, and then you could hear him in the mic'd up situation. He told his teammate, "You see what I did? I did the Steph Curry thing." So yeah, I think he could work on that a little bit.
Potentially.
Yeah.
We had a big dunk in this one.
Oh my God.
Anthony Edwards dunk.
That was nice.
In the third quarter. You thought maybe that was going to like get Minnesota going here. That was huge. That one on, I guess, like Jackson Hayes, where he sort of powered through him, scored a 93.1 on the dunk score. I thought it was a little lower than it deserved, but maybe the power I probably lacked because he sort of did get like
the release
hung
wasn't
up a little
perfect,
bit.
yeah. But I wonder what the defensive contest score was. Had to be 100 because it was body to body up top. That was pretty cool.
Rui Hachimura. Rough game in a weird way for him, getting hit in the face, had the mask, and he got pissed off with it and chucked it. Also had a great booger in this game that the stream team was telling us we had to show everyone before we went live. Wow. So there it is for everybody on YouTube. There's Rui Hachimura's big booger after he was at the free throw line.
Podcast listeners, you're going to want to come see this booger.
I mean, it's a pretty good boog.
That's really good. 2 masks for Rui last night. Went with the clear one, did not like it.
Right.
had to switch it out. They said, no, you have to wear a mask because we cannot have you going out for multiple games if you get hit in the nose once again. But obviously a lot of nose stuff going on for Rui Snatchamura.
He definitely had to pass out of his threes because I don't think he could see at times. Which obviously stunk. But
he had the single strap mask on. I thought that was pretty surprising when he switched to the black like carbon fiber one. It only had like one strap around it, like a headband. So you would think like you could do like the baseball flip your mask up, but as a pop up. Boop.
Any other random notes or anything else from this game, this series, before they go back to Minneapolis?
JJ Redick has a potty mouth and he needs to be careful.
He
might catch a $50,000 fine the way Anthony Edwards did.
Yeah, I mean,
You're allowed to cuss at your players?
Yes, I believe so.
But you can't tell a fan that you got a bigger dick than they do?
No, I think that's crossing the line
Okay.
in the NBA's eyes.
Fair enough.
But look, I think Lakers fans are like, oh wow, I like that. You know, he was pissed. Like he sensed there, we're not playing well here. This game is definitely we're not running away with this, and we can't go down 2-0. We have to win. And like, holy crap, that one time out there where he was livid. Was he livid with the officials or his team or everybody?
It's hard to tell.
It was a bit of a mixture, I think, but you know, obviously it was lighting a spark under them.
Yeah, I heard this live. I had headphones in. I thought it was amazing to hear it. That the mic
Crystal clear.
Yeah, had to be on the backboard.
Yeah.
So this is just proof that we'll never get a mic'd up channel in the NBA. It'll never happen.
No.
Yeah, the mics are just damn good, and you could hear it turn down after he literally said the F word 4 times in a row. I think he may have been talking to Rui because he said, "What the fuck are we doing?" And Rui didn't really react well on a rotation. But that's before a timeout. I mean, well, what did he say during the timeout? That was just him calling for a timeout.
JJ had a good game. He had a really good game. Like their game plan was much better in game 2.
Yeah, and I thought they were going through their offensive schemes more. Even though they weren't hitting shots, it just seemed like they were doing it a little bit more. So that was something that JJ must have been happy about.
All right, let's keep moving here to, let's just go to the other blowout. I mean, or the non-competitive game. SGA scored 27. It wasn't efficient, but the Thunder rolled past the Grizzlies. 118-99. So they take the 2-0 series lead. The Grizzlies won a quarter.
Hey.
That was impressive. They won the third quarter. That was when Jaren Jackson Jr. was playing really well, but never really in doubt this one. I mean, there was a couple scoreless minutes here for the Grizzlies at the start of the game and then the start of the fourth quarter, like the Thunder, when they turn up the defensive intensity. It feels like the Grizzlies can't score. And that's what came true, and they win handedly here. But takeaways from this one, TK, get us started.
All right, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 27 points on 29 shots. Through 2 games, he's shooting 14 for 42. That is 33%, and Oklahoma City is plus 70 in these 2 games. Second biggest margin of victory through 2 games in a playoff series.
Yeah.
So you wonder if maybe the Thunder starters versus the Thunder bench would be a more competitive series, because Memphis looks like they are done. They've lost all 6 games against the Thunder this season by double digits, and it doesn't look like there's any sort of solution here because OKC basically doesn't guard anybody. They just sit in the lane and wait for Ja Morant. They wait for Jaren Jackson Jr., who did have a great run in the third quarter playing bully ball. All of his shots were tough, but they're able to pack the paint because there's no threatening shooters for the Grizzlies. I thought Alex Caruso was incredible in this game. 13 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 1 block, 8 deflections. He was a plus 18 in 22 minutes. People will tell you a single game plus minus, not always accurate. This one was. He was just incredible. He was all over the court, and I don't know, Steph No put out a highlight tape of Alex Caruso from the first half, and it's like, you're never going to see a highlight tape that has a back screen in it, or a guy just poking the ball out from behind, and that's what Caruso did. When he's on the court, it feels impossible for Memphis to score.
No, he was awesome. I mean, he did it so many times. He just continued the fight of this team that is fighting like they were down 1-0. I mean, they were so scrappy.
That's a good way to put it.
Definitely.
It felt like they were the team that desperately needed this win.
Yeah.
Which they didn't, because they had just beat them by 51.
But all the stats. I mean, they crushed them in offensive rebounds. They crushed them in fast break, 21-3. They took 104 shots. That's a lot of shots because they got those offensive rebounds and because of their perimeter guys are pretty damn scrappy when they want to be. They just keep recovering. I mean, Shai was scrappy defensively. The tap from behind, yet another steal. Caruso ones are fun. Like even when he couldn't poke it from Zach Edey, he got in the passing lane to steal it and then dive out of bounds to save it over and over and over again. I mean, he forced a jump ball and he was super pumped, so pumped that he dropped into a push-up on the floor. And they were all pumped. They were all pumped to get this going. There just has to be a team that takes away a game from them and, evens this thing. But it ain't this first round matchup. Not this time.
I thought Chet Holmgren was awesome too on both ends for OKC. At 20 points, grabbed a team high 11 boards. Nice mix of outside inside from Chet Holmgren, was what you always want to see. He hit 3 for 8 on threes, and then he got to the line 5 of 6 at the charity stripe. And then he also recorded a game high, I think it was 5 blocks in his 33 minutes. And a lot of those were like, again, it wasn't all that close, but the Grizzlies were hanging around just enough. But he had some timely ones where he was just shutting down guys at the rim, and then it was usually transition points the other way for OKC. So really good game from him.
The recovery block was like a minute left.
Yeah, he's still trying his ass off.
He's still trying his ass off. Not a blowout, but I mean, he didn't have to do that.
It is insane. Like, you just gave us SGA's numbers through 2 games, and they're like crushing them. Like, Memphis has led for 2 minutes and 21 seconds in the entire series here. But like, I was thinking, like, they're up 2-0 handedly, and SGA's been there. Like, overall, the Thunder's like, I don't even know where you slot him right now. He's like 3rd, 4th, or 5th best player in the series right now. And don't worry, he's going to explode at one point here in one of these games for 40 or 45. But like, that's just like, oh my God. He doesn't even have to be elite for them to just not only win games, but like they can just run away with games with him like not being able to like hit shots oddly right now. So yeah, I don't know what Memphis does here. I don't know if you believe they can take a game back in Memphis. Or
I picked a sweep.
Yeah. That's fair. Again, I get the one promising development was Jaren Jackson Jr. at least bouncing back from an abysmal game 1 where he scored 4 points and he had 26 on 10 of 18 shooting. That was good. But there's a big stretch of this game where John Morant was like, did not look all that engaged in it. I thought he did sort of get it going in the second half a little bit, but like he just looked like the type of guy who's like, I don't know what to do here. I don't know what the answer is to either stopping them or even scoring on them. Like, we're struggling on both ends.
Yeah, and it continued even in the second half when it was a 10-point deficit in the third quarter. He got into the mid-range and he could just let it go, but he kind of got way too close to Isaiah Hartenstein. Isaiah Hartenstein got his hand on the ball, and it could have been an 8-point game. They could have got it closer, but yes, he didn't know still wasn't comfortable. He was kind of in between a lot of the times. And even in the second quarter, he had that fast break, and he was called for a travel because he threw it up there, but he could have just passed it back to Luke Kennard. But when you got OKC, you had Caruso on him, you had Aaron Wiggins on him to make sure he couldn't shoot the ball. So there's just going to be all those plays. Those Thunder, they just continue to fight for loose balls. They continue to run around Isaiah Hartenstein. If he has the ball at the elbow, like, they will not stop running. And so there just has to be a series where maybe their confidence is knocked, but not so far.
No. It sure feels like a sweep headed back to Memphis. It's just like, how much they like play with their food, and can they get through this without injuring anybody of note on OKC for me. Like, that's where we're at. It's like going to be 4, maybe 5 at the most, but it's looking more likely like a sweep.
They swept the Pelicans last year in the first round, right?
But it was competitive through the first 2 games, I remember. This is the exact opposit. So.
This one's over. But thanks for playing, Memphis. You gave us some interesting stuff the last couple of weeks of the season.
Sure did.
What do you guys think about these playoff shirts that are going around? Win for the blank. I noticed it in this one. Win for the M.
Yeah.
Memphis.
Better than win for Cream City.
Yeah. A hilarious one. Win for the land. That's Cleveland. Win for the wall with an exclamation point. That's the Clippers.
Yeah, it's okay.
Win for the joy.
Yeah, Lakers.
Win for the Burrows. Knicks. Win for the Bay. Warriors. Win for the O. Orlando Magic.
So then the Pacers just completely swerved.
There's yes, sirs.
Yes, sirs.
Yeah. That's better. All of the ones that are like custom made to the teams are better than these win for those.
Not a fan of the win for them.
They're bad.
Okay.
Win for the wall.
Win for the wall
is pretty
exclamation
funny.
point.
Yeah, that's good. Not a fan of any of them.
No, they're bad.
Yeah, nothing sticks
Win
out.
for Cream City would be very funny to have.
All right, let's go to the most competitive game last night. Siakam and Haliburton leading the Pacers past the Bucks 123-115. They take a 2-0 series lead. We obviously can talk about Dame and his return and what you thought he looked like, but where do you want to start, Pacers or Bucks?
I kind of want to start at the start. I thought the Bucks were looking to get everybody involved. I mean, Doc Rivers said in between these two games, because Tayshaun Prince and Kyle Kuzma put up offers, he said it's kind of hard to score when you don't touch the ball.
You called him Tayshaun.
Tayshaun, yeah. Tayshaun, because he was on Memphis's bench, right? He's an assistant coach, is he not? I've seen him. Anyways,
Taurean Prince will never supersede Tayshaun Prince in anyone's
Prince
mind.
Was brutal.
Yeah, they may be doing better if Tayshaun Prince was playing.
He did it 1-3, but
he hit a couple threes, but he also can't run a fast break.
Yeah, he needs
I'm
to be on the
convinced
bench.
Giannis was gonna like kill him.
yeah.
He botched 2 or 3 fast breaks where Giannis was running with him, and he made the wrong decision every time. But
Taurean Prince never played until he found Darvin Ham. And now he plays all the time. Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
he wasn't good when he played for the Hawks here. And now
No.
this guy starts in the playoffs for multiple teams. Doesn't make any sense. The Bucks have a starting lineup problem. They have 3 guys who should probably be on the bench. I think Lopez is the biggest offender because the dude is just so slow. You saw last night, anytime Haliburton saw him on a switch, he's like, I'm going to the hoop. Haliburton had a dunk in the half court last night. Have you ever seen that? No, he had so many layups.
He had a score when he just brought the ball up. I mean, after a dead ball.
It was so easy for Haliburton and for all of the Pacers last night. They started Damian Lillard because he was back, but the Giannis, Lopez, Kuzma, Prince, whoever the point guard is, so far in this series, they've played 35 minutes. They're a minus 23. The net rating is a minus 31.5. Literally, the Bucks cannot keep up with the Pacers speed-wise. Kuzma was trying to guard Haliburton. It's like a Kuzma-Lopez pick and roll. How can you possibly think that's going to work defensively?
I know.
But they'll probably all 3 start again in game 3. That's how Doc Rivers does it. He never changes his starting
especially
lineup.
with Darvin Ham sitting right beside him.
Exactly.
Gotta stay Prince.
Yeah.
Gotta keep him in there.
Yeah, obviously the Pacers just had so many guys perform. I mean, I know I want to talk about the Bucks, but we really should be giving some freaking credit to this multi-talented team. Like, they had 6 guys in double digits: Siakam, Haliburton, Turner. Another step back for Miles Turner. Back-to-back games. Aaron Nesmith, Mathurin, Nembhard, beautiful bounce on his 3. Obi Toppin at single digits, but you could just see how talented he freaking is. That baseline cut when Damian Lillard wasn't looking, that lefty finish into Giannis's chest, and he had to finish it around him. I mean, a beauty 3 from the corner. That was a hard shot for Obi Toppin. They're awesome. There is no doubt about that. And they continuously produce. The weird thing is, why I want to start with the beginning of this game is why that Bucks team just allowed the Pacers to keep scoring, because Doc Rivers said he definitely was focused on getting Kyle Kuzma involved. First possession, Giannis dribble handoff, and they were paying enough attention to Giannis that the Kuzma layup was freaking easy. He missed. Second possession, Giannis again to Kuzma right at the rim. He missed. Brook then stumbled and bumbled and dropped one. So they're down 8-0 just like that. Now Giannis did get more passes. Like, he only had 1 assist in game 1. He had 3 in his first run of 8 minutes in game 2. But it took a long time, and you could see Giannis was gassed. Unfortunately, like, he continued to produce, but you could see how, I mean, a few minutes left in the second quarter, Haliburton got past Giannis for one of those dunks. Lillard didn't help either, and then he couldn't stop a Miles Turner hook. He had a couple travels in this game. I mean, they got it going late, and they made it a 1-possession game. But I don't know how Kuzma and Portis didn't get out to Pascal Siakam. He just had an open shot. He had an open 3 with 2 minutes left in this game. So there was just there's a bunch of miscommunications, and so that hurt them, obviously. Maybe Lillard gets better. I mean,
he's not going to get better defensively is the problem. He probably will be better on the offensive end. He looked rusty for sure. It was good that he was out there. Like, it gives Milwaukee a little bit more depth. They're a little bit scarier on offense, but you could tell he didn't have his legs. I think he made 1 shot in the second half of this, and it was that late 3. They put him within 2, and then, for whatever reason, they run a play to get Kuzma a shot in Brick City, of course. But on the defensive side, like, they target him if he's dribbling if he's the main defender for whoever's handling the ball, cannot guard point of attack. And you're talking about all these back cuts and Indiana punishing mistakes. A lot of these are Dame Lillard mistakes, if we're being honest. They're trying to scram switch him out of the way, and every time that happens, Obi Toppin just goes for a backdoor alley-oop. Yeah. They completely lost the Pacers after the second action. Milwaukee was doing a fine job guarding, like, the first screen and roll, the second screen and roll, but then once they got into the last 10 seconds of the shot clock, Indiana never stops moving the ball, and they never stopped moving their players. Lillard was just losing track of guys, and he gave up more points, certainly, than he did scoring points, I thought, last night. And you just think about the players that they're putting out there. You watch the Pacers getting these baskets inside, and every time you've either got Lillard shrugging his shoulders, throwing his hands up, or Brook Lopez doing the same.
Yeah. Dame didn't even give an effort at times. Like Haliburton inbounded from his own end, and he was able to get all the way to the rim because Lillard didn't help. He's athletic enough to take one step, but he didn't do it on that situation. And yeah, he didn't help on another Haliburton dunk where Giannis also didn't help. They got tired there. And so, yes, Lillard has to be better. I mean, you can say, a few things. You could say, well, Dame's going to be better in Game 3. I think it'll help if when Dame is better that Giannis will have somebody to get a little bit of gravity from the Pacers defense, or, have caused a little bit of gravity, so the Pacers will have to look at somebody. Kuzma stunk in the first half of this game. He got better. He had 8 points in the second half. He looked better, and obviously you got a Bobby Portis game. So there's
small positives
things
here for sure.
Yeah, Bobby's been their second best player.
Yeah,
they should start him for Brook Lopez. They need to play as many Giannis at the 5 lineups as possible. Is what I'm going at. That's the only way they can hang on the offensive end, because I don't think they're ever going to be able to stop the Pacers defensively.
Yeah, and they tried that with the zone that they play. Even in the regular season, they threw out a Kevin Porter and Derry Bird / Gary Trent and Bobby Portis to surround Giannis, and it worked. It worked at times.
Yeah, they may want to try that a little bit more back in Milwaukee. I just thought the Pacers, like the rhythm offensively, whether it was against the zone, whether it was against man, they had it going. They were up 31-16, like through 7.5 minutes. And I will say, the Bucks, like there was a part where I thought they could have let go of the rope, and they didn't. And it was like they sort of were led by their vets. I mean, Giannis had a monster line. We knew that heading into the series. It felt like 1 versus 6 or 7 guys. Like what's gonna come out on top? Is it the super duper star in Giannis, or this really incredibly well balanced Pacers team? So far it's Indiana, but they sort of like kept it close. I think it was 68-60 at the half, so they were like within it. But I love the Pacers. Every time they have a good shot and they're like, nah, we can get a better shot. Mm-hmm. Like there was like in the second half when they started on fire there, it was Haliburton picking them apart. And it was like he had an extra pass with like later in the game, 6 minutes to go in regulation. He was wide open for a corner 3. He could have taken it. And he's like, no, Obi Toppin, who can't miss from the corner, over the last little stretch, I'll just give it to him. And it was like a better shot, just a better shot, better, closer 3-point shot. Like stuff like that, little things. Like
that's the Haliburton effect.
Totally.
The guy makes the simple pass every single time. And it filters down to the rest of the team.
I agree. And that thing was pinging around. When they had good shots they could have taken, and instead they just settled for a better one. But yeah, close game. You said that Dame 3 got it to 2 points?
Yeah.
Suddenly 115-113 after Bobby had hit a couple threes, but then Siakam with that 3, and then Nembhard with the huge 3 over Giannis trying to close out him hit. Like that was a hell of a step back there from Nembhard, who's continued to play really well through these first 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
He's a playoff riser, absolutely.
Yeah.
17 points, 5 assists, 2 steals in game 1, 17 points, 6 assists, 3 threes in game 2. He hits clutch shots when they're open. He brings ball pressure, which throws the opposing team off. I really like the way Nembhard plays. And then, man, Siakam is awesome.
Yes.
This guy is doing everything for the Pacers. 24 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 2 threes, including the dagger late. He initiates the offense. He finishes plays. He hits wide open threes. He runs the court. He defends. Like, he's not outplaying Giannis Antetokounmpo, but he's making it a pretty fair fight.
Yeah.
Like, Giannis is having a great series, but he's not having a superlative series compared to Siakam. Siakam has been incredible. Maybe he's been the best pacer through these 2 games, though. I just like the verve that Haliburton plays with, and the way he plays energizes their offense. But Siakam has been exactly what they wanted when they traded for him last year.
We had Haliburton and Dame getting into it once again here in Game 2. Both time in uniform. Obviously, Game 1, Dame was in street clothes, but they were talking some crap. That was near the end of the game, and we also had double text, I guess, on Siakam and Bobby Portis Jr. We had Gary Trent was it Gary Trent Jr. throwing Siakam down earlier in the game, and that sort of got a little brouhaha going. So, look, I love how they're openly talking, like, after these games, like, we hate them. They hate us.
Yeah.
This is great.
Good rivalry.
It should continue here. I don't see why it wouldn't, when especially Game 3 where Milwaukee has to win to have any chance to still win this series.
Yeah, it'll be a scrappy one. Yeah. Pascal Siakam leading the NBA in playoffs techs so far with 2.
Hey.
Our instigator draft update. No action last night.
Right.
Trey still a Zippo. His triple Ds of Draymond, Doncic, and Darius. Anyways, working title of triple D.
Yep.
We could do better. And Skeets still a 0 right now.
Yep.
Brooks, Edwards, and Dort. I'm sure you'll find some points with those guys. No Tatum right now for me. No points for him. Maybe not playing. We'll get to that. Isaiah Stewart, nope, not playing. But I still got 1 point from Kentavious Caldwell-Pope with the flagrant. Yeah, you want to hear everybody's got a tech so far? I've got a list of guys who have techs. Nah, we'll save it. Anyways, a couple coaches have techs. That's could
What'd you guys think? Or I guess here's my question. Better group of fans last night that we saw in this game. The 4 Pacers fans sitting courtside, decked out in hunting gear. Pretty good. They were going to bag themselves a deer out there. And we don't have a photo of the Pacers hard hat guy, you know, the guy that always has the flamingo.
Yeah.
He had the Giannis free throw clock counter, doing it manually.
Analog. That was pretty good. I like that, actually.
They had a good shot of it the one time.
What a prop.
Ticking it up.
Very cool.
Yeah, and it broke, but they managed to fix it a little bit later on. Yeah, so good work.
Okay,
good work
so you would go that one?
I think so. Why, you're a hunter?
I didn't mind it. I'm always impressed when someone's like spending that much money to sit courtside and they still lean into a bit like that.
Very good.
So kudos to those guys. It did confuse Jared Greenberg, who was on the call on NBA TV. He thought they were like construction guys. I don't think he got that they were like hunting deer. Maybe he was thinking of the hard hat guy, obviously, that was doing the timer. So maybe he was confused with that. So they're both pretty good.
He's a city guy. Jared's a city guy. Also, Lance Stevenson was in the crowd, and they do the guitar celebration that he used to do when he played for everybody. So he has to do it when the camera's on him. I like that. It's a good one.
Yeah.
I like the Indiana Fever also in the house because WNBA season coming up. Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston throwing out T-shirts. Everybody's in a good mood in Indiana. Everybody's rolling right now.
They got good synergy between the Pacers and the Fever, which I think is good.
Yeah.
Not every team does.
That's true.
I have 2 other sort of random notes, I guess, about the game, and I'm sort of about the playoffs almost. I wrote down when you know your replay system is broken is when the announcers got to keep saying, that was a lot of time to come back with just a common foul. Brendan Haywood said it 2 or 3 times, and he was right every time, and it's like, yeah, that's a problem. That is, it's just bad television, bad game to get people into it. It's like we're taking all this time, and it's like, guys, in the end, it was just a common foul. It happened a couple times. And then I wrote this down too. I want to get your opinions on this. Now, I realize this is for like 8 or 9 people in the world, us included, I think. But there should be a TV sicko button, I've decided, where we can turn off the score bugs for games being played concurrently. Because I don't want to know, because they had a 7 o'clock, a 7:30 start. I'm going to be consuming these. I don't want to be spoiled. So I want to turn off that bug that's telling me the Thunder game. You know what I mean?
That should be an option.
It should be an option.
It is on League Pass, right? You're like, hide scores.
Exactly. But they've just decided on national television. They're showing us.
You got to stay involved.
Come on. I want to go back. I want to see it. I'm going to see it, but you're ruining it for me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you for reminding me because I woke up this morning to watch Lakers Minnesota today. And you can turn it off in the NBA app. Yeah, got to do that.
But so they're showing you on NBA TV and they're showing you on ESPN. They were showing you the NBA TV score, or TNT, I guess it was last night. Anyway, any other notes?
Kevin Porter Jr. grabbed a foot.
He did grab a foot.
Grabbed Thomas Bryant's foot. Got a flagrant.
Come here.
Yeah. Can't grab feet.
Nobody had him in our draft, unfortunately.
No. Would have been a good pick, though.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the anonymous player poll because The Athletic put out their latest anonymous player poll yesterday. Grand total of 158 players participated in the Q&A. That's over 1/3 of the league, guys. Tremendous work by our NBA staff asking these questions. I've added the link in the show notes, so go check that out on The Athletic. The response that generated the biggest social media buzz was the answer to who's the most overrated player in the league. And Tyrese Haliburton took the win, I guess if you want to call it that. 90 responses to this one. Haliburton getting 14.4% of the vote when it came to who's the league's most overrated player. And then some familiar names, Rudy Gobert in second, Trae Young in third, Jimmy Butler fourth, and then some votes for Bradley Beal, Draymond Green, John Morant, Julius Randle, Joel Embiid. A bunch of other guys got votes, but we'll cut it there for guys that got sort of multiple votes. But how surprised were you, TK, with Haliburton getting the most overrated player vote here?
On one hand, I'm surprised because I don't understand why everybody hates this guy so much. the results come out and people say, why do people hate Haliburton so much? They say, because he only talks trash when he's winning. A, how do you know that? They're playing an entire game. You're not hearing everything. B, everybody talks when they're up. Who cares? But on the other hand, people do hate Tyrese Haliburton, so not surprising he would come up tops on this one. I guess 14.4% of 90 votes is like 13 players. So you factor in Damian Lillard, there's 12 other guys around the league who think he's super
I was going to say, was it the entire Bucks just voting for Haliburton?
It might have been.
Yeah.
Well, 13 players on a team. It kind of adds up. He wouldn't be my pick, personally. And in fact, if you were choosing between him and Damian Lillard, I know who I'm voting for on that one.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah,
oh, my goodness. Okay. What was your reaction to Haliburton getting this? He didn't seem to care, by the way. They asked him yesterday.
No, he's not going to care.
Although Rick Carlisle did care.
He cared.
He wanted some names. Not realizing it's anonymous for a reason, I guess. But
anonymous.
Anyway.
Yeah, and only 90 of the players of the 155 that
wanted
answered
to answer
other questions. Yeah, 90 said, okay, yeah, I'll answer that. So it is interesting. I guess maybe they didn't like Tyrese Haliburton jumping on the podcasting game, getting in the podcasting game way too early in his career. I'm guessing. I'm trying to find a straw here for 13 guys thinking about it, because it is early in his career, obviously. So maybe they deemed podcasting too early in your first 2 All-Star appearances. But I don't know. He was voted by players as the 10th best Eastern Conference guard this season in terms of All-Star votes as well. So he's never been voted extremely high. At the same time, I can see why Rudy Gobert was up there. He's just been hated for a long time by players. But I don't know. It's not drastically more. I know Tyrese Haliburton is the one that we're going to talk about. But it's 13 guys. It's not that huge of a number. Or is that just me?
No.
Yeah.
I think it may be a little shocking that he got the most votes.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Rudy Gobert and Trae Young, those are just those are guys that are always going to be on these lists. I feel like for a long time, you know Draymond's going to get some, even Jimmy, especially with the season he had, sort of like obviously derailing the Heat season. I get that, but Haliburton getting the most, that was a little shocking.
Surprising.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and even Rick Carlisle was like, look, why would they do this? They put Giannis Antetokounmpo and Jimmy Butler on there. So he's like, I voted for Rudy Gobert and Trae Young as the most overrated players. He's like completely brushed aside those guys. He's like, no, those guys are overrated. But these two MVP candidates, they're not.
Yeah, 33 players received at least one vote for this most overrated. And was there not there was the whole thing like somebody or 1 or 2 people said nobody's overrated.
That's right.
You made the NBA, you're not overrated. Okay.
Fair enough.
Most underrated, Cade Cunningham. 8.8%, so obviously a little less in terms of the totality of votes he got, but Cade Cunningham getting maybe what could be a most improved player award here. Sort of goes hand in hand with underrated TK. I don't know if you had any opinions on this one. We'll move through some of these. But
I think this is a 1-season win for Cade Cunningham, getting the most improved player for the same reason he would get most underrated. The team was a lot better this year because you look at the next 4 guys who got votes: Derek White, Norman Powell, Austin Reeves, Drew Holiday. These are 3rd and 4th options on their team.
Yeah.
Those are the real underrated guys, not a guy who was a number 1 draft pick and is going to probably be all NBA. I feel the same way about this vote as I do about most improved. Like, the guy went number 1.
Yeah.
We know.
Yes.
He's supposed to be good eventually.
This one does feel like in the anonymous players voting on it, like they've played against him, of course, some of these people, and it's like, he was just on a really crappy Pistons team. But that didn't mean he wasn't like pretty damn good for a rook in his first couple seasons. I know he was injured a little bit, but like they believed in him. They saw the talent. And now, now he's got a good team around him. Yeah, duh. He's really good. He's all NBA.
Yeah, he's a star. And so he should be rated a little bit higher. And he is making his name known here in the playoffs. So for a bigger fan base. So he's reaching more people. The Derek White one, I mean, people have been saying he's underrated for like 6,000 years.
Yeah.
for a couple of years, I would say. And, he was awesome in the playoffs last year, so he doesn't have to be underrated anymore. Although it makes sense, like Norman Powell, Austin Reeves. They deserve a little bit more. Austin Reeves is a good player. Norman Powell's a good player.
Yeah, Norman Powell should have won this one, I think.
Yeah, for this season, sure.
2 guys got titles. One guy was a number 1 overall draft pick, and another guy plays on the Lakers.
Yeah.
The 3rd option for the Clippers, I think, is more underrated the 3rd option for the Lakers.
Yeah, that's probably fair. MVP, the players, anonymously, they think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander gets a majority of the vote, 56.1%. And what a lot of people think is going to be the result here soon enough, TK, whenever they announce the actual award.
Yeah, and I said I thought it'd be like a 2-1 margin voting for Shai. Basically a 2-1 margin here. He's going to win MVP. Though you get a lot of quotes from players basically saying Jokic is having his best season. How could he not be MVP? Triple-double, 30 points per game. How could he not be MVP? There are several players with MVP valid cases, chief amongst them SGA and Jokic as well. I did notice no votes for Jayson Tatum. That was interesting to me. Mitchell got votes.
Yeah, last year in the Synonymous poll, Nikola Jokic was in a far closer poll, 42% to 37% for Shai. So this definitely feels like this will be replicated with the actual vote.
Yeah. Face of the league in 5 years, Victor Wembanyama pulling in 54.3% of the votes. Anthony Edwards coming in second. I'm sure you weren't shocked by the result, but did you think maybe it would be more of a blowout, TK, for Wemby?
I guess 50 is kind of low when you put it that way.
54%.
Yeah. I mean, my takeaway was that I think Luka should have more votes as face of the league. He's the first international player in history to have the best-selling jersey. He's now on the Lakers. I think maybe it's because this is in 5 years, so we don't know what Luka's going to be doing in 5 years, but I think he's going to be the face of the league for the next 5 years.
I think this is just emblematic of how we shouldn't care that an American player needs to be face of the league, because you do hear that in conversations in NBA circles. Oh, we need an American guy who is this image, this persona, but we don't. We don't at all. Victor Wembanyama is obviously charismatic. He's eccentric. He does strange things that will get plenty of headlines. He's very well spoken. I think he could easily be face of the league, and it's good for the league because he's a good dude. That's it. I think done and done. And so will he be there? He has to win. I think you have to win to be face of the league. So we'll see about that. But it could be Luka as well. I mean, Luka could be that guy.
Yeah. Best organization. The Warriors, 21.9%. And the worst organization was the Hornets at 38.1%. Any reactions to any of those two franchises on opposite ends of the spectrum?
Players around the league must have seen Klay Thompson's return to the Warriors and the way they brought out all those hats. And they're like, that's awesome. Look at those hats.
Sailor hats.
Look at those sailor hats.
Yeah.
They've also had an extended run for their dynasty. I mean, obviously things have changed. Klay Thompson now on Dallas, but they brought Jimmy Butler in to give Steph Curry a better chance. They've got a new arena. They spend a lot of money. They've won 4 titles in the past 15 years. I think this is the right choice for best organization out there.
Yeah, this is what the Warriors have been for a decade. It's been a long time. And these polls were asked of these players like March to April.
Right.
When they're cooking, when Jimmy's there.
Post-deadline, yeah.
And they turned on something, which they actually have within their organization. OKC and Boston, 2 and 3. That makes sense too.
Yeah.
We could see what OKC is turning into. We could see what Boston has become. They've been an Eastern Conference finalist or a finalist for many years. They've got a great organization. The Clippers at 4th was interesting, I thought.
Ballmer spends money, baby.
The wall.
Yes,
the wall.
Ballmer spends money. They love the wall. They love everything about that arena because one player was quoted as saying, everything is first class for them. Yeah. 'Tis true. Ballmer wants to play basketball. He's great at technology, but he's a lot. He's right.
I like that. He wanted to go to the NBA, but unfortunately, his strengths lie with coding.
Yeah, he's a coder, man. He's a coder. Can you do coding in the Intuit Dome?
Probably.
Yeah, they got chargers at every seat, right? Your laptop.
The Hornets,
cool.
38% there as the worst organization. I did love this response, again, anonymously. Some players declined to answer this question because they said they didn't have enough reliable information to make an informed judgment. As one respondent said, you don't really know. You could be a losing program, but still be a great organization. So I thought that was.
I guess that's true.
I guess that is true. But most of the teams at the top of the worst organization were the bad teams for the last little while in your Hornets and your Wizards and so on.
Yeah, a little surprised. I think that the Hornets took home the win in this one. I probably would have voted for the Wizards. They've been worse longer. They haven't won 50 games in literally 50 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just happy.
They were second, though, I think, right?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
They didn't drop
It was
too far
between
down.
these two teams.
The good thing is that the Bulls only got 3 votes. was the only time the Bulls showed up on any of these, except for somehow Matas Buzelis got 1 vote for face of the league in 5 years.
Oh, that's nice.
It wasn't me. But only 3 votes for worst organization. I love that.
That's good.
The Suns somehow, though, got 2 votes for best organization.
Yeah.
So one Bradley Beal. They're like, these guys got suckered into paying me $250 million. Yeah, baby.
Sure.
Who's the other guy? Who is the other guy that voted for the Suns?
You were allowed to vote
Phoenix
for your own
Suns.
organization?
I don't know. I don't know. I would love to know if there were any players who voted for their own organization as worst organization or a fellow teammate as most overrated player via jealousy.
Jeez. Just gotta say it quietly into
That's
the
right.
mic to our athletic reporters. This one I don't think you could vote for yourself on. So who will win the title? The players, again, not being able to vote for your own team. Celtics were the pick, 57.7%. Maybe a little surprising with what we just saw, obviously, OKC do in the regular season, and obviously what the Cavs did in the Eastern Conference. But I guess you look at it, you're like, Boston stormed through the playoffs last year and missed Porzingis for a good chunk of it, brought back all their key players, paid them all, and then won 61 games still this year, just burying teams with all those three-pointers. So they were a very popular pick here, nearly 2/3.
Seems a little bit high
Yeah.
for us watching now, but I'm sure players just evaluate and they say, haven't done it in the postseason yet. OKC, I guess that's what it is.
And
Simple as
they,
that.
I feel like players more than like everyone are like, hey, you're the champs. Until somebody takes it from you, why aren't you the champs again? Especially if you have the same unit there and you have the same superstar. So there's probably some truth to that. Any other takeaways from this? Pretty fun, informative, I guess. Anonymous poll.
We're never getting a shortened season.
Right.
82 games, it's going to be happening. 10-minute quarters, that ain't happening. 78% voted no on 10-minute quarters. And the question was asked, would you be in favor of shortening the regular season if it meant your salary would be smaller? 85% said no.
No way.
No, I would gladly play less games, but not for less money.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to it, players would rather be more exhausted with a fatter paycheck. Who amongst us wouldn't?
That's
Right?
Yep.
So lock in
just-
for 82.
They're just like us.
Yep.
Any other takeaways, Tass?
No, I'm surprised they thought that they despised the 10-minute quarters.
Well,
mean,
it's
they just
just
wanna play
less
more.
it's less minutes to go around for
Yeah.
75% of these guys that are also. This isn't just asked to the superstars
Oh,
who are
absolutely
probably
not.
like, yeah, let's limit the quarters. I could play full games.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Some of
there's
these guys
all
who
the other
won't
guys who
play.
get a nice paycheck. Yeah.
Yeah, some of these guys will get a lot of reduced minutes. So
There was
that makes
definitely
sense.
one response that was, I only play 5 minutes a game. I wish we had 14-minute quarters.
Yeah, that was great.
I love that.
My other takeaway, we get asked this, or they do this every year, which player in the league would you least like to fight? And I mean,
classic.
the belt is always going to James Johnson, who once again pulled in a majority of the vote, 63.1% of the vote. This guy, obviously, like the black belt or whatever level he's at in UFC sort of fighting stuff. Beef Stew finished second, and then Steven Adams finished third.
Okay.
And somebody said regarding Adams, you kind of have to worry about the quiet ones. And that is, Adams a lot different. I mean, James Johnson, he's not even in the game a lot of the time. But, Beef Stew,
No,
obviously
he's
a
not.
little more out there and in your face. But Steven Adams, he just comes into scrums and picks guys up and moves them around like chess pieces. But
Yeah.
they're like, I don't want to fight that guy, even though he's like maybe smiley and quiet because he'd kill us.
Yeah, he picks guys up. Like he picked up Tony Bradley, right? Stan Van
That's right,
Gundy
yeah.
mentioned it in game 1. He remembered him picking up Tony Bradley because Steven Adams is a muscular man.
He's a muscular man.
Yeah, why I chose the word muscular instead of just strong. I don't know.
I'm sorry.
He's both.
I'd love to see that fight, though. James Johnson versus Steven Adams. Put it on a card.
Two different fighters.
I mean, I think James Johnson would destroy him because he's a legit fighter, but I just want to see the strength of Adams.
I mean, I
Let
assume
size on
James Johnson is a good fighter because he's never in a fight. Nobody challenges
Yeah.
him. The guy's played 15 years in the NBA. Have you actually seen a James Johnson skirmish? You've seen Isaiah Stewart. You've seen Steven Adams get in the mix. Nobody even tries James Johnson. He never plays. The guy's played like 90 minutes the past 2 seasons, and they signed him after the game ball incident with the Milwaukee Bucks. Literally, he's there to be a scary guy on the
Yeah.
bench.
Don't you
And
come
he
into our
says,
locker
"Chill.
room."
He
Yeah.
says, fine. And sometimes he dresses like an astronaut. He's like, who's going to say something to me?
Yeah.
No one.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody.
James Johnson dressed like an astronaut?
One time.
Don't care bring it up to him.
Can't wait to see.
All right, let's get into some Celtics news here. We got our first major award winner. Boston's Payton Pritchard has been named NBA Sixth Man of the Year. He averaged career highs 14.3 points, 3.8 boards, 3.5 assists in 80 games. I think he only started 3 of those 80. Shot a career high 47.2% from the field, including 41% from three-point range. He had over 1,000 points off the bench, 1,079, most in the NBA. He got 82 out of 100 available first-place votes. So he won this running away from Malik Beasley, who finished second. Were you shocked by the result and how dominant a victory it was for Fast PP?
Yeah, a little bit, because Malik Beasley was taking so many headlines sort of mid-season on. At the beginning, it was all Payton Pritchard, and that's because he started off the bench. And I think that is one thing that you can say is important. He's 77 games off the bench to 64 for Beasley. His numbers, in addition to his points, are great. 4 boards, 3.3 assists to 1 turnover ratio. Most points off the bench, most threes off the bench in history. He's damn efficient doing it. So I think he does deserve it, even though as basketball media nerds, we did see Malik Beasley a lot more, I would say, game 30 on. I mean, it's not just the dance. It's because he was damn good at it. And he probably would have hit more threes off the bench than Payton Pritchard. If he did it more, I don't know. I guess not at the same time. I take it back. Payton Pritchard's just awesome. He's better than his championship year.
Right.
This is his best version of himself.
It definitely felt like Malik Beasley was more important to the Pistons' success than Payton Pritchard was to Boston's success. Like, Boston has just such an awesome starting five that having a guy like this off the bench is just gravy. But third in bench scoring for Pritchard, 7th in assists. He's 47% from the field, 41 from 3, 84 at the line. Awesome season. Yeah. Really good crop of players who are up for this candidacy. Pritchard, Beasley, and even Ty Jerome, would be a good Sixth Man of the Year winner. I would have voted for Beasley, but like you're saying, Pritchard was the favorite all year. Never stopped being the favorite, even when Malik Beasley was making his run at most threes this season. So I guess people just give a lot of props to Pritchard, and it's a way to show the Celtics a little bit of love for a season when they're kind of flying under the radar.
Yeah. Quick trivia for you guys. You guys are usually pretty good at this. He is the 4th player to earn the honor for the Celtics, 6th Man of the Year. Can you name the other 3 winners?
Well, Kevin McHale won it.
He won it twice.
Yeah, he did.
He won it twice.
Bill Walton
84.
won it.
That's right. He won it the year after Kevin McHale won it, those 2 years.
Dennis Johnson?
No. This is the tough one. Okay, good. Here we go.
John Havlicek?
No, you got to go a lot more recent, guys.
Oh, more recent. Isaiah Thomas?
No.
Sixth Man of the Year. Marcus Smart won Defensive Player of the Year. Was he a sixth man?
No.
It wasn't a Malcolm Brogdon.
It was a Malcolm Brogdon in 22-23.
Okay,
then. Surprise.
Forgotten one. Yeah. So add Pritchard to the
Forgot
list
about that.
of Celtics players to win Sixth Man of the Year. And the other Celtics news, Jayson Tatum, doubtful, at least the time I wrote this, for tonight's Game 2 matchup with the Magic because of a bone bruise in his right wrist. Tatum sustained the injury during Sunday's Game 1 win. He took that flagrant foul from Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. I guess Wendell Carter Jr. is sort of in the mix there as well. He landed on his right wrist during the game. He finished the game, and he told reporters afterward that the x-rays came back negative, but he was seen sort of grabbing at it and stuff like that. So he is doubtful for Game 2 tonight against Orlando. They can probably beat the Orlando Magic without Jayson Tatum, so I wonder if they really just slow play this and just say, hey, just take a couple days to rest it, and we'll see if we can take care of business. But he could play, of course, tonight.
Exactly. That's kind of how I'm feeling about things. Doubtful is not out, which means that theoretically Tatum could play, and more than likely it's going to be a pain tolerance / do you have enough strength in your wrist sort of thing. If he had a sprain or a tear or like a broken bone, he'd be out. Right? Like, this means there's still a potential he could be there, and it might be just we handled things pretty easily in Game 1 without Jayson Tatum playing all that well. He went 8 for 22, scored 17 points. They could easily beat the Magic without Jayson Tatum, and if he were to sit tonight, that would mean their next game isn't until Friday, so off from Sunday until Friday. That's enough time for your wrist to heal up, get your legs underneath you. I wouldn't be surprised if Tatum doesn't play just out of precaution, because Celtics probably still feeling pretty good about their chances tonight.
Right.
But better chance for Orlando, that's for sure. As a guy who is their playmaker, even though he didn't have a great offensive game shooting the ball, the thing goes through him. He played by far the most minutes for them, and he boarded hard. So I do wonder, who will the ball go through a little bit more. Obviously, it's going to go through their guards a little bit, but we'll see if Jaylen Brown and his knee, that's close to 100%, but is not the same as it was during the regular season, will have to put a lot more on his shoulders tonight.
Yesterday, Al Horford reiterated his belief that the Magic stepped over the line when it came to their physicality with Tatum. He said, quote, "Yeah, there was something extra. There was a lot. It was a second or third time that, especially Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, went at him in that way." This is Al Horford, stoic Al Horford, and he was showing emotion. I remember in that game, and like during that play, he was very pissed off. Do you think there's some truth to what Al's saying, or is he over exaggerating here a little bit? Like, did you be honest? You got the point in our instigator draft. Were you surprised it did get a flagrant foul on the play where Tatum goes down and landed awkwardly on his wrist when he got sort of met at the rim there and sort of a little bit from behind, no doubt, by KCP and Wendell Carter Jr.?
Yeah, if the footage stopped right after the play and you didn't see that Tatum was injured, then yeah, I would not have called a flagrant.
Yeah.
But it's about Tatum being down and out.
And
it didn't seem flagrant to me.
And he's in the air. You thought that's what the officials are determining, that he can't sort of protect himself?
I think so. Okay. I think that's what the definition that Steve Javie would throw at him, or Monty McCutcheon, or whoever was talking from Secaucus.
Steve.
Yeah. As far as what Al Horford is saying, I don't know. I don't think Orlando was that over the line at all.
Okay.
They're just big foulers nonstop, man. So definitely a rough play to hit a guy out of the air. But we'll see if anybody takes a shot at KCP. Yeah. That's the way to get back. Not just talking about it. Be about it, Al.
Wow, I can't see Al Horford.
Yeah, exactly.
That,
who's the guy on the Celtics who would actually take a cheap shot at somebody? And that's the weakness with the Celtics right there. Isn't it?
Wow.
Isn't it? No backbone.
Nobody.
Xavier Tillman, I think, is the dirtiest guy.
He's not even dirty because they don't have one yet.
They got no dirty guys.
Joe Mazzulla.
Squeaky clean. Yeah, Joe would do it.
He'd snap.
Yeah. Put him in a figure four leg lock.
Even Mazzulla, after Tatum went down, isn't he like holding
Get
back?
up!
Yeah, he's holding back his own training staff to go out and check on him. Get up! And then he was asked about that. He's like, "It's all about love, man. It's our relationship. It's about love." I was like, okay.
Rub some dirt on it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we'll see if there's any repercussions after that Game 1 hard fall, whether Tatum plays. Magic Celtics Game 2 tonight. Heat Cavs Game 2. Warriors Rockets Game 2. I think that's the one everybody's most excited about. But you never know. One of those teams could tie up a series here and suddenly gets a little more interesting. But it feels like the Rockets got to win here tonight. Can't go down 2-0 going back to the Bay.
Yes. Right. We will see if Houston is able to generate any sort of offense. They were okay. They were good enough, at least, I think, defensively in, it was 95-85? Ended up being the final score.
Very low scoring, yes.
In Game 1, Rockets versus Warriors. And I think Golden State's defense will continue to show up, just like I think Houston's defense will continue to show up. The question is, how can Houston score some points? Because 85 ain't going to win a playoff game.
Yes. That's always a question with them. Question with the Cavs, if you don't get Ty Jerome's career game in the playoffs, because he's only had one game in the playoffs, but also just a monstrous fourth quarter, are you still going to win? I mean, the Heat were doing a good job of keeping Donovan Mitchell out of the lane, and so it was a close game until Ty Jerome was a monster in the fourth quarter. So I'm looking forward to all three games. You got to be completely honest. And Clutch of the Year gets announced as well today.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Clutch Player of the Year.
Who's winning it? It's either Brunson, Jokic, or who's the third person?
Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards.
I guess this one's a numbers one. I sound excited, but is it all? It can be all that excited.
My gut says Brunson wins this thing. It's Brunson
voting.
or Jokic, I think.
Yeah.
One of those two, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So we're just gonna start, announcing these like almost every day here. An award a day.
They dropped the announcement of when they will be announced.
Oh.
Defensive Player of the Year tomorrow, Thursday, and the Hustle Award.
Okay.
That one is numbers.
That one is
right?
I think
that
so.
one's not even voted.
I feel like John Schumann just decides that one. He goes through the NBA sort of.
So it's gonna be
stats.
Dyson Daniels, right?
Deflections.
I mean, these guys are the deflection monster.
So he's a monster.
He has to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Marcus Smart wins this all the time, I think. But he's barely played this season.
Yeah.
Or last season.
Daniels is a good call.
Yeah. So just those three: Clutch, Depoy, and Hustle Award. While MVP, Coach of the Year, Most Improved Player, and Rookie of the Year will be announced later.
Oh.
We'll figure it out.
All right.
You know, we might want to keep it until the second round, third round if Shai's going to be there. Well, you know, it depends. Depends if a guy gets bounced or not.
All right, well, we're going to be back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, live from the Classic Factory to talk about all 3 Game 2s tonight and whatever award they are announcing. The Clutch Player of the Year, a whole lot more. So hopefully you'll join us. Hit the like button, subscribe, podcast listeners, 5-star ratings and reviews. Until then, Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us, and remember, Anthony Edwards was fined $50,000 for grabbing his crotch while arguing with the fan. Last year in the first round, he didn't get fined for doing the DX crotch chop. So, Adam Silver must like wrestling. That's what I'm saying. Maybe. Perhaps.
I don't feel like players are getting fined very much for that. That's the one way to go about it. Can't do a big balls dance, can't comment on the size of it to a fan, but you can direct people's eyes to that region.
Yeah, that's the move.
That's what Anthony Edwards literally said that? Like,
Yes.
Oh, yeah, there's video.
They were okay with him saying you're broke. Rudy Gobert makes more money than you.
Yeah.
But once he brought the ding-dong into it, nope.
That's going to cost you $50K. I guess $25 for each nut. Embrace the day, people.